tonight to celebrate. Professor, thanks so much for coming on. These things reach a certain point where there's no point to them. Not a single person is being helped. Politics, in the end, even James Michael Curley, who governed from prison, went out of his way to help people, crook though he was. These people helped nobody. I don't think this can continue. Do you?
No, I don't. I mean, if Joe Biden really is worried about symbols and signs, he could just say to Hunter, please, Hunter, symbolically never use the N-word again. And then Hunter could say, okay, Dad, don't call a senior aide boy, or don't call an African-American journalist a junkie, or you ain't black. That would be a good start. But, when the left creates these self-induced crises, and that's what they are, and whether the border or foreign policy, inflation, gas, and they can't solve them because they're in an ideological straitjacket, they look to the trivial. And I mean, if you want to talk about race, we have a national tragedy. 7,000 African Americans murdered by other African Americans, 75% illegitimacy rate in the black community, 300,000 black abortions. He doesn't have an answer to that because some of the policies that he embraces help cause that. And so they go over and talk about, a moon landing 50 years ago when the country was 88% white, and why weren't there more blacks there? And so another thing they do is, and they don't want to talk about class, Tucker, because class is the new barometer of oppression or inequality. And whether you're an African-American tire changer in Bakersfield, or you're a white lathe worker in Dayton, or you're a house painter in Fresno, you're not making it in this inflationary high fuel economy. You can't afford $7 for diesel fuel. And so that's what, we don't really care what Michelle says about oppression from her third mansion in Hawaii, or what LeBron says from his billion-dollar contract. It's just Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. He goes home to a mansion and an estate in Calabasas. It's absolutely irrelevant. And you can see that you're absolutely right, Tucker, that they don't have a COVID crisis or a transgendered epidemic of hate or nuclear war on the brink. Then in normal times, people dispassionately, soberly, and judiciously, they look at this agenda and they say, this is contrary to human nature. In fact, this is madness and we want no part of it. So to sum up, the subtext of everything you've said, Tucker, is fear. They created a voter locomotive of angry people, and it's coming down the tracks at them in November. And they're tied to the tracks with ideological rope, and they can't get out. And there's no way they can get out. And we're going to see one of the biggest resets I think we've seen since the 1930s, when they lost over 70 seats. Hillary said, we got no crisis left, we should let it go to waste. That's what Rahm Emanuel, that's what Gavin Newsom. They don't have any idea of the real crisis that's coming, because they created it and they're going to suffer it politically in a way they cannot imagine.
I think you're exactly right, and that's the good news, and we should keep that in mind, because the stuff just gets overwhelming after a while, but it's almost over. I believe that. I need you too. Professor, thank you. Victor Davis Hanson, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've been watching CNN again, and they are now covering Hunter Biden.